let's start by talking about your hometown. Are you from a town or a village?
I'm from a town and even a city you would call it. I'm from Bucharest, which is the capital of Romania.
What do you like most about your hometown?
Since I moved, it's became a very nostalgic place for me, so I like that I have a lot of memories there.
Has your hometown changed much over the years?
I wouldn't say so. I feel Bucharest is a sort of place that stays the same all the time. There's new businesses, there's new places, but overall it is very similar to how it was before.
Would you like to live in your hometown in the future?
I haven't thought about it too much, but it's not part of the plan for now. I wouldn't want to go back.
What's something your hometown is known for?
It's communist history, beautiful architecture, and a very busy nightlife as well.
Now, let's talk about friends. Do you often spend time with friends?
I do spend quite a lot of time with my friends, and especially now that I live with one of my friends, basically all of my time was with my friends, yeah.
What do you usually do when you're with friends?
We love going out to get coffees, we love going out for a drink, we love going clubbing sometimes. Recently we went to the spa together and that was really fun.
Did you spend more or less time with friends when you were younger?
I think I definitely spent more time with my friends when I was younger because as an adult I have a lot of other responsibilities that I need to take care of. So overall it is definitely less time than when I was a child, yeah.
Do you think it's easy to make new friends?
I find it quite easy to get along well with people, but to make long-lasting friendships, I do find it quite difficult in London. So I would say it can be pretty difficult.
What qualities do you think are important in a friend?
I think loyalty and honesty are really important in a friendship. Knowing that the other person is there for you in case you need them and you do the same for them, I think that's the most important thing about a friendship.
Let's talk about cars. Do you like traveling by car?
I do like traveling by car, but I don't travel by car that often.
Why?
Because I don't have a car and my friends don't have a car.
Do you know how to drive?
No, I never took my driver's license exam.
Why?
Because when everyone was doing it in my high school, I was busy preparing for university in a different country. So that wasn't one of my priorities.
What kind of car would you like to have in the future?
Ideally, I would like a Porsche. A red Porsche would be nice.
Is it common for people in your area to own cars?
In London, I actually feel like most people don't own a car, whereas in Bucharest, most people have a car. There's usually multiple cars per household.
One thing before we continue, each IELTS speaking exam begins with some easy questions about your hometown or place where you live, work, studies or home, and if you are prepared for these topics, you can start off on the right foot. And I've prepared some sample answers and super useful vocabulary for you in a free PDF guide. You can download it in the description below. Back to our exam. What are the advantages of having a car?
It's obviously very convenient. Anytime you need to get somewhere, you just hop in the car and you don't have to worry about travel arrangements.
That's the end of part 1. In part 2, I'd like you to talk about the following topic for 2 minutes. Describe a time you had to speak in front of a group of people.
When I was in drama school, at the end of my year, we had to do a showcase which consisted of each of us preparing a monologue that we would perform in front of our classmates, our professors, casting directors and agents from the industry. So that will be the time that I will be talking about. I wrote my monologue based on this character who's a young woman experiencing the dating life in London and tying it back to the idea of having choice or not having choice in our current society. It was extremely nerve-wracking, but I was also very, very excited to do it. It's even more personal than just speaking to a group of people because it's your own work. And that was the first time I had ever performed something that I had written. So that was quite a lot of pressure that I put on myself. In the end, it was such a fulfilling experience to know that I had created that from zero. I wrote it, I performed it. My classmates were extremely supportive and very noisy, which is always good in the theater to have a lively audience. So I felt really, really good about it. And I always look back on it as one of the best moments in my development as a young actor. Yeah, as nerve-wracking as it was before I did it, it made me feel really good and really confident in my ability when I was over with it.
Well done. In part 3, I'd like to ask more general questions about this topic. Let's start with communication and confidence. Why do some people feel nervous about public speaking?
I think it's thinking that everyone has their eyes on you. And so basically every mistake you might be able to do, every little awkward gesture will be noticed by someone. So that makes complete sense.
And how do you think people could overcome this?
I think preparing, doing it over and over again would help with getting rid of the nerves and just really trying to focus on what you're saying rather than what is happening around you, rather than people looking at you, rather than worrying about yourself. I think it's really important to worry about what you're saying and what is the point for you delivering that message. I think that's going to take you out of your head.
Do you think confident people are more successful in life?
I think they might be. I think confidence allows you to do things that maybe you don't have a high chance of succeeding. But then at the same time, if you never try to do it, you're definitely not going to achieve it. So just in that way, the possibility of succeeding is higher for people who are confident enough in themselves to take risks in life.
In what ways is being confident different from being arrogant?
Being confident is being self-assured in yourself, having a lot of security in yourself, in your abilities. Whereas being arrogant is thinking you're better than everyone else, which in reality is quite insecure. Having to compare yourself with people definitely shows that you don't feel good enough.
Do you think people are born confident, or can confidence be developed?
I think early experiences in childhood and in your teenage years can definitely impact how confident you grow up to be as an adult. So in that sense, I do think there's people who are naturally more confident than others, but I do definitely think it's a skill that can be improved for anyone.
Now I'd like to slightly change the topic and talk about social media. Can social media affect how people feel about themselves?
I think if it's not used in the right way and it's used to compare yourself with other people, other people's lives, it can definitely make you feel not very great about yourself. I think it's important to remember that social media is a perfect image of something and not actually real life, because it can then become quite daunting to have that as a comparison.
Has technology made it easier or more difficult for people to express themselves?
I think it has made it easier in a way, in the sense that it's way easier to express yourself in a community where you feel understood. And so social media has made it easier for some people to find their people, which allows them as a result to express themselves more freely because they know they're surrounded by people who understand them. So yeah.
Okay, do you think people feel more confident speaking online than in person?
I think they definitely fear. I think the online gives you a sort of distance from the reality of the situation. So in that way, even when what you're expressing isn't a good thing necessarily or a kind thing, being online and not having your actual image affected by what you're saying can make you more confident to say anything.
What are some potential disadvantages of relying too much on digital communication?
I think it definitely makes us lose a sense of real life connection. If that's the only mode of communication that we're using, then we don't really know what it's like to actually build a relationship with someone in real life. Real life interaction with someone is definitely more complex than just sending messages online or just a Zoom call. So I think it's important to develop those real life skills with people.
Okay, good. I think you did really well.
Okay.
Red Porsche is a good choice for sure. There are a couple of questions where you could do even better. So in two of them, you just listed things.
Okay.
It would be better if you took, for example, one thing or maybe two and developed your ideas a little bit. Just add something.
Okay.
Or shall we try again? What's something your hometown is known for?
Bucharest is really known for its very busy nightlife at the moment. There is an up-and-coming genre of music called minimal techno, which is really booming in Romania and specifically in Bucharest, where a lot of the DJs that invented this genre are playing.
And the second question was, what do you usually do when you're with friends?
We like to spend time talking and keeping each other up to date with what we've been up to. So it's usually big catch-ups which happen over coffee or drinks. We sometimes go for a walk as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Another thing I've noticed is that sometimes you start your answer by repeating the
What you
exact
said.
question back to me. It would be better if you either started answering straight away, or if you need a bit of time to think, you can say, I haven't thought about it. Or that's a difficult question. Just buy yourself a little bit of time, but try not to repeat.
To repeat, okay. I actually thought that would be a good way that you would want to answer an English test by repeating the question, but I'll take that on board.
It's not.
Actually, it's not. Okay, cool.
Could you try again this question? Do you like traveling by car?
I prefer public transport. I love traveling by car when I have the chance to, but that is not very often because I don't own a car and my friends don't own a car.
So that was a really good answer, because the first time the answer was also a little bit too short because you don't have experience in it.
Yeah.
So you didn't say enough. And I asked why? For this question and also for the next one. So if you could expand a little bit more. So do you know how to drive?
I don't know how to drive because when most of my peers were taking their driver license exam back when we were 18, my priority was applying for universities in the UK, and so I didn't learn how to drive at the time.
Indeed, your IELTS speaking score mainly depends on your English skills, but it can still vary depending on how well you use those skills to meet the specific IELTS requirements. And in my courses, I teach how to answer each type of task and meet every single requirement in IELTS speaking and writing. So far, over 30,000 students have taken these courses and their results are amazing. If you'd like to check them out, I'll link them below. These courses can help you save time and get a higher score. And now we're back to the video. It's about 1 minute 50 seconds, so that's a good duration. I do feel that you reached the end slightly early, and then you started to add more ideas, which is not bad. But I think that if you expanded on some of the early ideas, it would be even better.
Okay.
Do you want to try again?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Whenever you're comfortable.
When I was in my drama school, at the end of our year, we had to prepare for a showcase. For that showcase, each of us had to prepare a self-written monologue, which would be performed in our theater in front of all of our peers, all of our professors. We had to invite casting agents and talent management agents, which hopefully we would get to sign with after. So there was quite a lot of pressure on our shoulders. I remember I spent quite a long time thinking about what I would write about. And then one night I just started writing and it all came very easily, but there was a lot of thought that went into it before. I wrote my piece about a young woman's experience of the dating scene in London. And it also touches on the idea of connection between people or lack thereof, and the idea of choice that we have or don't have. I really enjoyed what I wrote, but then getting to perform it was a different thing, which comes with a lot of nerves and a lot of pressure. I hadn't rehearsed that much for it, and then before the show started, I was speaking into the room to see how many people there were in, and it was a full house, like 150 people probably. So I did feel my heart drop a bit. But then I did it, and my classmates were extremely supportive and very noisy and lively, which made it easier for me to perform that. And I felt really confident and really proud of myself afterwards.
Perfect. And you're spot on. 2 minutes sharp. Really well done. Now, let's have a look at the band scores, which I've confirmed with the former examiner on our team. In fluency and coherence, if we take the first version, it would score a strong 7, but the second, expanded version would score an 8, an immediate improvement. Vocabulary was strong, with some great examples of less common and idiomatic expressions, as well as collocations. Not quite enough for band 9, but definitely an 8. As for your grammar, there were very few mistakes, so the accuracy was fantastic. Some structures were repeated several times, so we could have slightly more variety, but you didn't use that many complex structures overall. We didn't hear any examples of complex sentences, for instance. Still, a very strong score of a band 8. Next, pronunciation. Absolutely effortless to understand. All individual sounds pronounced clearly. Some might find the intonation a little flat, but then again, that is not uncommon in many native speakers. This is a 9. And this would give an overall score of a band 8. So overall, you would get a really strong score in your exam. So really, really well done. And that is the end of the speaking test. Thank you so much for watching us today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!
Bye!